a scion of many worlds. Xavia Enlightened Luxon Divine Ascendant. That's really your name? He asks her blankly, and she glares up at him. Do you think me some kind of peasant with only a clan and personal name? Or even like your little metak? She trails off as his eyes narrow at the insult to Magrica. She then rallies herself. I am more important. I have many names. You're more important than most. You have many names as well. How is this hard to understand? Names I gave myself. I am a copy of a simple solider placed in the copied body of a dead man. I took a name related to the original so I would be myself, and then I took the names of the dead man to both honor his memory and torment his mother who denies me. Names only have the power you give them. They're empty noise if they mean nothing. But that's not how things are. How are things then? He asks, and she takes on an arrogant look before suddenly deflating. He raises an eyebrow. You're supposed to cover yourself in glory, to show the entire world how great you are. Yet, hey, where's my crown? It was bothering me. I tossed it onto the throne and forgot about it. He says with a shrug. What? It bounced around as I moved. Sooner or later it was going to get my eye. He remarks wryly. But that crown is a sacred symbol of office. But it was worn by my mother and hers back for generations, Xavia protests. Yes, and it was placed on your heads by the Lux Order to serve as a symbol they could use to control Miru, which worked so well that the country split in half, is surrounded by enemies on all sides and staring down a famine. Oh, and has been conquered. By me, using disaffected Miru citizens. How wonderful. She just grumbles to herself under her breath and then refuses to elaborate when he looks to her for clarification. Yes, now that we've established that sarcasm is yet another weapon in my arsenal, let's get your new accommodation squared away. He remarks, and she looks confused. What's wrong with the palace? All my things are here, she says, gesturing around the room to where her ornamental and highly impractical dresses are, to the mounds of jewelry on the vanity and silk-covered bed and feather-stuffed pillows. I don't trust you in the palace. Furthermore, this room is far too decadent. Get your most practical clothing packed. I'm having you move to the Aridus Valley. The scholars of the Order of Star Seekers will see to a more proper and rational education. You've had your head filled with nonsense. And if I refuse to go? I am willing to drag you there stark naked through the countryside towards Aridus Valley. Are you willing to put up with that? He asks, and she just stares at him for a few moments. No, she mutters, looking away. Good. Gather your most practical clothing. Things are going to be very different for you from here on out. I will return in a few hours after checking in on some things that have come up, he says before leaving the room and closing the door behind him. She can still hear him through the thick wooden boards organizing for things to be cleaned up and assuring them that she's not going to be here much longer to make a mess. Wretched beast. Still, it may be of use. She then considered things through. The monster thought her soft and foolish? Pah, what an imbecile. It was clear in many ways that the creature was being manipulated by some outside party. It's well known that part of the process in which beasts become higher beings is to shed the male sex, to learn to control their reproductive capacity. A male is a sign of lesser existence. It's why she had that idiot who claimed to be seeking a way to create male erumenta executed. To have such a thing happen would drag down the entirety of the world. Now, she just needs a way to dispose of this thing, no doubt specifically made to counter the Holy Lux way. But how to do it? He's immune to light, and to use darkness is wicked. But none of the lesser elements would likely come close. They're just too frail to do anything. What to do? You know she's plotting against you, Grandmother Bell notes. She'd been put in charge with sorting things out and getting the priorities in the castle in order. She was a tough old broad that had no delusions about how bad things could get if the logistics weren't taken care of. No doubt. But she's a spoiled brat with no idea how things work. She's as obvious as a thunderstorm and perhaps half as good at planning. She has few allies and will gain fewer in the Aridus Valley. There are few poisons on this world she can make use of, and she only knows how to use light as a form of attack, something she knows I can render myself immune to. Poison? Poison! Right. That's not something we think about much. Why would your mind go to that so quickly? Grandmother Bell asks before grinning. Unless you're the type to eat rotting food in desperation, most prefer to go hungry instead. I have the mind and memories of a human. Poisons are a very real danger on their homeworld of Earth. How so? What kind of world has a lot of things rotting? She asks, and he shakes his head. It's not that. Earth is in cruel space, a part of the galaxy where the axiom just can't be used. Because of that, there's a lot of different adaptations for survival. Where most animals evolve axiom use in some way, they need other tricks there. Poison is one of them, or rather venom, as it's a type of poison made to be forced into another creature to kill it, usually with a bite. Of course, there are other types, poisons that stay in the body of a creature that makes attacking it for meat useless, as you only have something tainted and deadly even if you do kill the animal. I wonder why it's not more common if it's both a sword and shield. Oh, that's easy. It doesn't always work, but it's very draining to do. Jasper continues. Anyways, have you, from that dirty look, I'm going to assume, no. I've barely started, you giant galoot. Unlike you, I actually need to think things through. Ouch. Very well, I'll be back in a few hours. Will that be enough time? He asks, and she nods. So he nods back and pulls out the communicator he got earlier. He brings up the ship control and activates the transportation on him. There's no immediate teleportation, but he can sense something trying to yank at him through the axiom. He then aligns his own axiom with it and throws energy behind it until he simply vanishes. He reappears in a dusty cargo bay with numerous religious symbols relating to the Luxway painted on the walls. Symbols of the sun and sunbeams all over the place. Hopefully the vandalism hasn't destroyed anything. Blessedly, the shuttle has the galactic standard scale of things, which is to accommodate the larger races, mostly because the smaller races can still get around in places where larger beings are more comfortable, but not the other way around. It takes a bit of wandering to find the helm. Bits of religious paraphernalia are all over the place, and he has to brush a bit aside to activate the holographic terminals. It spends a few moments asking for a key, and he places the communicator on the console. It works. All right, ship classification. A scurry shuttle. This is the 5th one attached to the Nest colony ship that brought the ancestors of this world here. It's capable of short jaunts into space, and is mostly an atmospheric craft but can make limited trips into space, mostly to provide transport to and from orbital installations or vessels. It has a series of unsent status reports. What's the most recent one say? He mutters out loud as he goes through the reports. The flight systems are still in urgent need of repair. The amount of weight on top of the shuttle has only increased in the last 5 years. His eyes widen and eyebrows go up. But not beyond the tolerance of the engines at even 25% power. How tough is this little bastard? He blurs through the specifications of the ship and almost curses. It's a transport only. No weapons, minimal shields, but tough as all hell and easily repaired. Medical bay included, as it was apparently going to be repurposed into an ambulance along with the others. A bit of digging, and the Nest was going to be transformed into a massive hub of industry, manufacturing, education, and healthcare, with the scurry shuttles acting as public transport, in the case of number 1 and 2, and the remainder being ambulances. Good plans that went to hell. He downloads a copy of the blueprints into the communicator and turns off the terminal. Time to take a look at the sleepers, maybe take a whack or three at the engines. Although why none of them tried to repair the engines just confuses him. It wasn't like the information was hard to figure out. He then churns it over in his mind and considers things a little more. He turns on the communicator's main function without sending it to anywhere specific. "So, what do you know about this?" he asks into the nothingness. "Know about what?" a strange voice asks after a while. "Oh, you're someone new. Who am I speaking to?" "I'm Nurse Cornflower. Who are you?" "I am Sergeant Jasper Emmanuel Skitterway Blue. I must admit I was expecting my mother." His speech is interrupted to hear a sudden sharp gasp of breath. "Is there something you feel I should know? Do you have any idea what kind of mental state that woman is in?" "I'm afraid not. My situation is very, very odd, and I'm working with conjecture and guesswork for the most part. I'm not officially her doctor. She doesn't have much respect for the soft sciences. But studying the behavior of others is a soft science, isn't it?" he asks, and there's a sigh. "I'm willing to listen if you want to talk." "I'd say thank you, but you no doubt are fishing for information." "Can you blame me? My situation is truly bizarre. Look, out of respect for my employer, I can't say much, but I can tell you that she doesn't react well to unexpected developments, often growing infuriated and testing things over and over until she gets what she wants or understands exactly what happened. And my behavior has been completely unexpected. Yes, look, I'm here because spending several years to a decade learning under Dr. Skitterway is as good as a master's in medicine and several other fields as well. I'm training to be a diagnostician and have a degree in psychology. I don't know much." "You know more than me. Is there anything more you can tell me without risking yourself or angering her?" Jasper asks, and there's a pause. "No, I've said too much as is. I'm terminating the connection now," she says, and the line goes dead. He starts to look away, but immediately a text message arrives. "You're actually helping her. Please keep it up." The communicator then forcibly resets itself, and there's no hint of the message on his phone. He notes clucking his proboscis a little in thought. He considers things and considers some other things that deliberately clunk with the known information. Has she never let herself grieve? Has she never recovered from the loss of her son? But why? There are so many whys left unanswered. His calling her mother is helping her? How? Why? He just got an answer mostly to a question he hadn't bothered to ask, but it just raised several more. Although the information that she has little respect for soft sciences would explain why she hasn't gone to therapy, which to be fair would be a science softer than butter with so many different races, standards, and religions, all setting different standards for what is a proper mindset. To say nothing of how do you perform proper psychological therapy on a full conversion cyborg or a mind clone like himself. No doubt examining him would make an entire thesis for several psychology majors. He pockets the communicator and quickly finds the medical section. 2 entire cargo bays dedicated to preserving lives and linked but able to be separated in case someone has a virulent disease. The 4 missing heads of the Lux Way are here, looking to be just barely out of their teens as they sleep in front of him. They sleep in almost the mummy style, but with an iron and leather tome in each of their hands. The books are covered in locks and very solidly sealed. There are further books on different beds, no doubt for the other, now dead, members of the order. He pulls them out of the grips of the girls and sits on a nearby bed to flip through them after breaking the locks with ease. Personal journals, behavioral hints, and secret plans. Who to trust, who not to trust, and other such things, including the location of personal fortunes and a list at who owes who favors and how to take advantage of that. There are numerous little plots and minefields that these 4 vicious bitches have been up to. Perhaps when they wake up they would have slept away these poisonous attitudes. If so, he's willing to burn the books and allow things to be forgotten. After he gets the hidden resources, he's going to have to pay some people for food very shortly, and the personal treasuries of conspiratorial lunatics will be a great start to that.